Hello. In this briefing, we're going to talk about the documents you need to carry on board. This is exercise 3, part 3, and it applies to flights within the United Kingdom in a Part 21 aircraft. You will need to carry the aircraft flight manual or its equivalent, which we'll talk about in a moment. Under some circumstances, you'd need to file a flight plan. That's most unusual, but it can happen. You'll need suitable aeronautical information so that you don't stray into airspace. There may be other relevant information that you need, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And then finally, you need an aid memoir for the procedures that you need to follow if you're intercepted by another aircraft. So all of the data that we're talking about here can be found in CAP 1535, so CAA publication, the Skyway Code, a very useful document, and you should download a copy for yourself. So first, the aircraft flight manual or equivalent. Well, we need the aircraft flight manual so that we can understand when we're in or out of the placarded weight restrictions for the aircraft, whether the aircraft is capable for certain maneuvers and not others, and so forth, and indeed any speed limitations, for instance. And providing you have all of these things placarded in the aircraft, then you don't need to carry the actual manual itself. As far as a flight plan is concerned, virtually all flights have no need for a flight plan. Flight plans are an advisable thing if you're going to be flying overseas, for instance, so actually over water, and you may find yourself having to ditch, or over hazardous terrain. But it's not mandatory in those circumstances, but a very wise thing to do. However, the flight plan becomes essential or mandatory if you're going to cross international boundaries, or you intend to fly in controlled airspace, or indeed at night, which for a glider is fairly unusual. Aeronautical charts, the suitable aeronautical charts for this purpose are needed if you're going to travel outside of visual range of the airfield. Moving maps are okay, you can use a moving map, that's fine, but whatever system you use must be with up-to-date information so that you know where danger areas are and so forth. It's also advisable to carry a chart if the airspace around perhaps your airfield is complicated in any way, and some are very close to London TMA, for instance, and you need to have some sort of reference because you may not be able to remember it all. Other relevant information might, as an example, be as a student pilot, you could be cleared to fly cross-country on your navigational skills test, for instance. You can do that solo, but you need authorization to do it, and that would be given to you by your instructor, who will sign your logbook to that effect, and you should carry that with you. As far as the procedures go for intercepting aircraft, they can be found in the Skyway Code, page 148 to 152, and you should know them. And it's also necessary under the law to carry a copy of them. And a document like that can be downloaded from the Gliding Academy website. Here is an example. And it simply explains what you need to do should you be intercepted. And you might be intercepted because you've strayed into somewhere you shouldn't be, and the authorities need to get you out again safely to protect other people as well as you. So in summary, you must carry either the flight manual or the equivalent, which is okay to carry the placards and so forth, and they will do. If you're going to go into controlled airspace, you'll need to file a flight plan, in which case you must carry that with you. You'll need suitable aeronautical charts, which should be up to date if you're going to stray basically outside of the circuit area. And then any other relevant information that applies to your flight, any special permissions you've been given and so forth, should be carried with you. So if you're challenged, you can present them. And then finally, you need to have something that tells you what the procedures are for an interception, should that happen. Other documents which you think, well, what about insurance and certificate of airworthiness, etc.? Well, they don't actually need to be carried, but you should be able to produce them within 24 hours, and they should be at the airfield of departure. So in the case of a club glider, for instance, you would expect the insurance and the airworthiness certificates to be kept in the airfield office. However, these don't apply as soon as you fly overseas. So there will be a separate set of rules, and if you're flying in another country, a country other than the United Kingdom, you will need to check what you need to do and then adhere to that nation's rules. And that's it. See you next time.